we are bringing you the latest update on that developing story. Now, the death toll from last night's fire in the building in the Johannesburg CBD has now risen to 56. Firefighters rushed to the five-storey building on the corner of Alberts and Delver Streets in the early hours of this morning. Now, they are still searching through the building for more victims. For more on this, we cross now to our reporter, Nozintombi Mia, who is on the scene to give us a sense of what is happening there now. Nozintombi, good morning. So a really gut-wrenching story, and the numbers just keep climbing. To give us a sense of what's happening there at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, Sakina. You know, before I even speak, I'm going to stand out of shot because the scenes that we are seeing are gut-wrenching, Sakina. We are literally seeing a street that is littered with bodies. Police are trying to keep the media away from the area. So we're going to try and move laterally because they've sort of put a police line. But what you're seeing literally is the bodies of the people littered on the sidewalk. You can literally see that the bodies have been covered with metal sheeting, with blankets, with any form of covering that they can try and get some sort of covering on. This is truly one of the most horrific scenes and horrific events that we have seen in the inner city. And we do understand that the fire that broke out in the early hours of this morning was caused by what is currently alleged, and the reason why I say alleged, Sakina, is that investigations are still ongoing. The police are investigating what the cause of the fire are, but the allegations at the moment, with information still streaming in, is that this was a hijacked building and there was illegal connections of the inner city. And we're hearing from community members and people around here. They want to know, why is it that government has still not done what they can, especially local municipalities? Why have they not done what they can to try and resolve this situation of illegal connections and illegal living in the inner center? I mean, you can see that the police are working frantically. They are trying their best to try and contain this situation. This entire area has been cordoned off. This entire area has been cordoned off. This entire area has been cordoned off, and you can see that the police van here is trying to block off access to the media. But literally, as this van is moving, it's actually blocking off the bodies that we are seeing that are littered on the street. There is Joburg, the Metro Police are here, the South African Police Services are here, emergency services are here. You can see a whole number of people here trying to find out what exactly was happening. And you can literally see just the sheer utter level of distraughtness from the emergency workers and the firefighters as they try their best to deal with this issue. And we're going to show you pictures of the building. You can see that the emergency services workers are actually going back inside the building to try and ascertain if there are more bodies. You can see that they are holding what looks like these it assists the emergency services with carrying out people who are in a prone position or people who cannot move themselves. We know that 43 people have been injured, more than 43 people have been injured, and what they're doing right now, it seems to be a recovery operation to try and recover more of the bodies. I mean, in just since the story broke in the early hours of this morning and the news of the first 20 bodies were discovered, the number of fatalities has increased. We're going to show you the windows to show you that the scene. You can actually see as you go all the way up, you can literally see the emergency services workers walking up and down the stairs there to try and find what it is that had happened. I'm going to try and speak to some of the residents here. Hi, sir. How are you? You live around here, right?
Yeah, I do live around, but check, The thing is, with this building, it had a lot of shacks inside. So
Shacks?
yeah, there were shacks inside. Remember, it's hijacked property, so there's quite a lot of residents who are residing inside shacks. So probably something went wrong. But obviously, if a fire starts in a space like this, it will not stop because there's a lot of cardboards. I've been around, I'm sure, for the past 5 years. I've been monitoring here because I'm from Hillpro Radio, you know. So we do feeding here. So we're quite aware of what happens here. But I'm sure some fire started and then just everything ignited after that, you know.
But it's a terrible situation here. I mean, it's a hijacked building. You say there are shacks inside here.
Yeah.
I mean, how were the people even going to get out? I mean, it's just absolutely shocking. We're going to keep giving you more visuals of the background and what we're seeing here. You'll see that the police are trying to push back the media further. But as we are continuing our conversation, this gentleman is just telling us a little bit more about some of the issues with this building itself here and the issue of the hijacking of the buildings. He's just told us now that in this building there's been quite a lot of shacks inside the building. Show me the background. So in the meantime, it is a little bit of a scuffle, Sakina. There's all of the media people here. Everybody wants to get the best shot. Everybody wants to speak to community members and residents to try and find out the truth of what happened. We know that at the moment it is 56 people who have died. And with you here coming from Hillbrow Radio, when did you first hear about what happened here?
We heard in the morning. I mean, we have people in the city. Some of our guys also stay around here. We always keep on reporting, you know. So we had it as early as around, I think, 5 a.m., 4 a.m. there. And then we just had to rush here. But as you can see, it's hard to get all the information because it's a sensitive scene, you know. So, yeah.
Do you know any of the people that lived here? Do you know any of the residents, anybody that lived here?
For now, yeah, I know some people because, I mean, this is a mechanic area. There's a lot of workshops here. This is where we fix our cars. So obviously we know a few guys, but whoever has been a victim of this fire, we're not quite sure yet. You know.
So at the moment, you're still anxious because the families haven't been notified because the situation is still an ongoing situation. Absolutely hard.
There's a lady already here who says she has lost a child in there. There's a guy who's been running around here. His family is inside there. So, you know, it's quite hectic as you've seen. Yeah.
And obviously, right now, we're not yet speaking to them because they're still giving police reports.
Yeah. As you have seen, everything is just bracketed, you know. There's no free flow of information. You might find out if there's even more bodies in there because, as I'm telling you, there's shacks. So people, I'm sure there's over 200 people who stay in there, you know. So you'll hear shocking numbers sooner or later.
Do you think many of the people were South African nationals or foreign nationals? At the end of the day, human life lost is a human life lost.
It's a mixture. This place is mixed, you know. There's a lot of Nyaope guys, hijacked buildings. So you've got people from everywhere, Tanzania, KZN. I mean, you know, Joburg is a continent on its own. So especially these areas, you know, it's downtown. So you meet locals, you meet people from outside and all, you know.
As we continue our conversation, Sakina, I'm going to ask my camera colleague Kina to just turn around and show you what we are seeing and just to take stock of what this eyewitness has just told us. He's telling us that this is one of the hijacked buildings that he lives in and around. He says there's more than 200 people that live here. He says in this building itself, there are shacks that are inside a hijacked building. Not only is it shocking that the building itself was a hijacked building, allegedly, what is even more shocking is that eyewitnesses say that there were shacks inside this hijacked building. We have seen the emergency services going inside and outside of this building, looking for more bodies, looking for more people. And it seems, Kina, if you can just focus there is a body that is coming out right now, Sakina, that we are seeing. Emergency services are retrieving what looks like a body. We are not sure at the moment whether it is somebody who has passed away or it is somebody who has survived. But what emergency services are telling us right now is that the chances of survival are quite slim. These are absolutely grim pictures that we are seeing here. You can see the emergency services walking around across the fire truck with that body in that holding a facility or holding container that I was telling you about now, Sakina. And our eyewitness telling us now, Sakina, that he would not be surprised if there are more people that are found to have lost their lives here. He is saying that this is an area that is a mechanic area where they do get their cars fixed or serviced. He says it's a mixed area with either locals or foreigners here. And he's saying that he's heard so far of 1 or 2 people who have claimed that they have lost their loved ones. But right now, as we're standing here, we are literally standing in something that is out of a horror movie. We are seeing bodies covered in foil on the floor. Police and emergency service workers are literally starting to run out of space to try and find where they can start putting the bodies. It is chilling. It is gruesome. It is grisly. This is something that we have not seen in this province in a very, very long time, and questions need to be answered. And we know that the mayor of the city of Johannesburg will be making his way down here a little bit later on in the morning, and we need to put the real questions to the mayor, to the premier, to all the officials that are responsible for maintaining the inner city and maintaining the infrastructure and maintaining the buildings. How did we get to this point? How did we get to a point where we are seeing the numbers of people rising in a hijacked building? It is unacceptable. It is untenable. It is unfathomable that we would hear about a hijacked building that has shacks inside it of more than 200 people living in there, catching fire due to illegal connections, bodies piling up on the floor, people crying, people having lost their loved ones, police scrambling with emergency workers to try and recover the bodies of the people. We need to look to the authorities and we need to ask them hard questions about regulations, about enforcement, about why this situation was not prevented before it happens. Just like with the situation that happened earlier in the inner city with the explosion, our officials seem to be reactory as opposed to leading from the front. And this is a situation that has slowly and surely become worse and more grisly by the minute as the minute progresses. We do know that 56 people have been confirmed as having died so far, Sakina. The number is rising. We literally just saw a body being removed. We are seeing the emergency workers again. We are seeing the emergency workers going back in to retrieve more. And I am hearing now from studio that the number of people that have died is no longer 56. It is now climbing to 58, Sakina. And this shows you the gravity of the situation. This shows you how bad the situation is here. This shows you how urgent an intervention is needed. You can see that police are scrambling to do what they can to try and deal with this situation. We are going to try and give you more stories of the community members, of the people, of the residents, of the real people, to put not just a number to the story, but to put faces to the story, because at the end of the day, this is what the story is about. It is about the lives that have been lost. It's not just a number. It's not just a number that is rising. It's not just a number that is climbing. It is about the faces. It is about the people. I'm going to bring in my guest who I was speaking to. Thank you so much again for speaking to me. So you said your name was?
Hams from Hillpro Radio.
Hams. So Hams, I'm going to ask my camera colleague Kina to just continue showing you the shots as we're speaking to Hams, so she can show you some of the what we're seeing here. And just to move, you'll see that there is quite a big crane over there with emergency services coming up from different sides. So there's different access points. So what we're asking now, Hams, is where did it go wrong? Yes, it is a hijacked building, but surely there must be officials or authorities that knew about this in the first place.
I mean, there's a lot of hijacked buildings in the city. It's not just this one. I mean, opposite this other building, there's another building there. It's in a similar situation. So definitely such things end up happening, you know. it's overcrowding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what else is the issue with aside from overcrowding?
Pardon?
Aside from overcrowding, what else is the issue?
If a building it's hijacked, obviously there's illegal connections there, my sister, you know. So anything could have happened, you know. Premise stove, it could have been a blown wire, you know. I mean, as it is, there's electricity, but it's hijacked, you know. So
That's a
anything,
serious problem.
anything can go wrong.
Hams, as we're speaking, we're going to speak to this lady here. Kina, if you can just turn towards us here. This is what we're talking about the human stories. Dimela Mamaligai, you are in tears, you're heartbroken. What happened?
I'm looking for my daughter. She stays in this building.
What have you been told so far?
No, I met some of the people that says she was in the building. But then everybody was running for their lives, so they don't know if she's trapped inside or she's been one of the people that are taken away, or I actually don't know.
Have you spoken to police? Have you tried to get any information from the police?
The police are not giving us, they just, we must wait until they give us a direction as to what is happening, because now that they're saying the death toll is just rising.
Tell me about your daughter. What did she look like? What do you remember her wearing, the very last thing that she wore?
I haven't seen my daughter in a year, in a whole year, because every time I come here she runs away. She doesn't want to talk to me.
Why?
She was on drugs.
Absolutely heartbreaking. You're desperately trying to find your daughter.
If I can just find her alive, that will be the best thing.
As a mother, what are your thoughts right now? This is such a heartbreaking story. This is such a heartbreaking situation. I'm sure seeing what you're seeing, that I am seeing as well, is just gut.
I'm scared. I'm terrified. I don't know what to expect.
Thank you so much for talking to us. And we're going to keep speaking to you throughout the day, monitoring your situation, just to see that we can hopefully assist you to try and find your daughter.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sakina, I'm going to ask my camera colleague Kina to just continue showing you more of the visuals here as we unpack what we've just heard now. These are the stories that we're talking about, Sakina. The stories of the real people, the real human emotion. Here is a mother who found out about this incident, and she is in tears, heartbroken, gutted, desperately trying to find her daughter. She says she last saw her daughter a year ago, as her daughter was on drugs and her daughter was running away from her every single time she tried to get to this area. And this is what we are talking about when we are talking about the real human emotions and the real cost and the faces to the numbers. 56 and rising is not just a number, Sakina. These are the people who are affected, the loved ones who've lost their loved ones. And as the scene gets cleared by the police, as more bodies are removed by emergency services and police, these are the heartbreaking, gut-wrenching scenes that we are hearing from the communities here